Another fascinating Cape Cod personality, an author of probably one of the most influential books ever on Cape Cod, obviously Henry Beston and the Outermost House. And joining us today is the executive director and co-founder of Henry Beston Society. And their whole goal is to sustain and expose the works of Henry Beston, the works and the life and the philosophy of Henry Beston. As you probably know, he was very influential in just the Cape Cod seashore part. So, judging from the size of the crowd today, he's doing a good job effectuating Henry Beston. So please welcome, he's also the author of Henry Beston's Cape Cod, by the way, and we have books in here, which he'll sign after the presentation. So please welcome John Wilde.
That photo you just saw on the screen is probably very familiar to most of you. It was on the cover of the most recent editions of the Outermost House. It was taken by this woman that you see on the screen right now. That's Nan Turner Waldron. Nan wrote a book called Journey to Outermost House back in 1991. She actually spent parts of 17 years staying in Beston's house after Beston donated the Outermost House, or the forecastle as he referred to it as, to the Massachusetts Outermost Society. And Nan had the opportunity to absorb the atmosphere of the outer beach in the same way Henry did. And Nan passed away in 2000, and before she died, she passed on her research and photographs to me, which we've used as the basis for the Henry Beston Society. As I mentioned, Nan stayed there for quite a long time, and you'll see a lot of photographs in this presentation here over the next hour or so. And here she is sitting in the house with the pump right back of her there, writing at the table the same way Beston did by the lamp. And Nan will tell us a little about how Henry Beston came to the outer beach.
He was a very well-known literary figure of his day. He had an office in New York. He had done a great in children's studies particularly. He was well-known in London, in the literary world, and in Boston. So when he came from New York to visit Cape Cod, he was really in search of peace. He had been in the First World War, and like anybody who's been to war or anybody who's been through any major trauma, you're scarred. He doesn't speak of it as being scarred, but he definitely was influenced deeply by it. Now this was he was 35 years old when he came to Cape Cod, and visited friends, and began to come back from New York every few months. And eventually decided on moving to New York. His letters show that he was beginning to get this idea, I have with the big time. And I am going to Cape Cod. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to pursue more writing, even though he was writing in New York and Boston and in London, and had publications going all the time. So he came to Cape Cod in search of something for himself.
So eventually, he came to the Cape, stayed here for a while with friends, and then had plans drawn up for a house so he could stay on the beach. And he drew up the plans himself, gave them to an East Ham carpenter, and within a 6-week period, in the late spring, early summer of 1925, a 20 by 16 house appeared on the dunes 2 miles south of the Coast Guard station. The Outermost House, incidentally, is the name of the book, but that's also what became, the house itself kind of became known as the Outermost House. This is a picture of it in its first location, atop the dune, overlooking the water. This is the gentleman who built the house, Harvey Moore, and he's Stam Carpenter, and he had a crew of about 4 or 5 other guys who helped him out, and they carted all the wood and the bricks and all that other stuff down the stand in a horse and wagon, basically, to a location atop a dune, and built there. And Harvey, I heard an interview with Harvey where he talked about his how much he paid the carpenters. He said $250 for every 8 hours. Bargain basement rates. Beston also had stationery made up for his address out on the beach, which was just simply the forecastle, latitude 41, longitude 69, East Ham, Mass. Couldn't have been very easy for the Postal Service. He only wrote with number 2 pencil, despised typewriters. He said it ruined the rhythm of writing. He said sentences ought to follow each other like waves of the sea and be as individual as waves. A sentence ought to come in at a fair speed, rise, break, and then withdraw, leaving a free space for its successor.
And you've described our great beach here, and the ocean which comes in upon it, as no one else ever could or ever will. The Outermost House, as a testament, has had immeasurable influence. Your book is one of the reasons that the Cape Cod National Seashore exists today to protect the beach and many acres around it for our future generations.
Intern Waldron got down there a week later to see what was left of her beloved house.
Because the eye of the hurricane came over from Cape Cod, and a friend of mine, of course the eye is clear, and they had sunlight during halfway through this great storm. And a friend of mine had gone down to the Coast Guard station and walked out the beach in the middle of this storm, and there sat the Outermost House in the mash. And he said, I wish I could have thrown a net over it and saved it for him.
And with the house being gone, yeah, it's gone, but its memory still lives on.
I think the feelings were like sort of losing something that you felt was part of the heritage of a place that you loved. The Outermost House was an icon of Cape Cod, and it was sad to see because it meant that there was nothing tangible left to remember Beston's experience.
It's gone, but its memory lives on. Beston's writings live on, and that's what we're doing. I'll leave you with Henry reading from his work.
For the Christian life of the earth, and their hidden walls, they are the song of birds at daybreak, of lion on the bear, and dawn seen over the ocean.
I invite you to visit our website at www.henrybeston.org. We have video presentations that show you a little bit more than what you saw here today. More information, take a brochure. We have brochures, newsletters, and of course, a book, Henry Beston's Cape Cod. Thanks for coming.